What's up, everybody? This is the poker coaching study session. Today we're gonna be looking at river spot. So first I want to show the hand. So this is a hand I played in the $25 GG Masters Sunday Bounty Edition. Uh,
Oh,
which
this is
was this is a
this is deep. Yeah, this is deep.
the final, I'd say final 80 players probably on a 8,000 player field. So I open the button with my king eight off, and then we get this flop, which I see bet small. Um, turn, after he calls, I check it back.
Yeah, I
He
think you're supposed to bet turn again.
check. And then on the river, he bets 5 big blinds. And I'm looking at this with my king eight, and my fingers are burning. I deeply wanna call.
So what was the turn action? Check, check.
What did he bet on the turn?
No bet.
He out on the river. He bet 5, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, let's think about like cards that are good and cards that are bad. So I have a club, I have the king of clubs, so that's probably not very good, right? And then,
Yeah.
I have like, the eight, so I'm blocking like, eight, nine. Uh, and all that, I'm blocking the bluffs that are like eight X. And then also like, I mean, he probably doesn't bluff enough on this node,
You
right?
think your hand has like, I
Even
think
though
you have
like
to figure,
pretty easy, he probably does not bluff as much as the sim, right?
This
Well,
is probably like a weak ace that
that's
he's
what I
just,
thought.
I'm,
I was like, he can very easily do that with just an ace. He can have a six every now and then.
I
Maybe
want,
has some clubs, maybe,
I
but
want to try to think about this in a different way. So sorry to interrupt. So we can actually look at this in chip EV post flop, right?
yeah,
How much equity do you think your hand needs to call here? Like
uh,
35%, right?
to call the river.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like,
Throwing ICM out the window.
yeah. I mean, so from like a pure chip EV standpoint, you're paying 5 to win roughly 15, right? And,
I think.
yeah, so that's like you said, Ken, it's pretty close to the, like 30%, 33, 35% mark.
Now the eight's probably a bad blocker. So like you're gonna call some kings. I think the king eight might actually fold because you block clubs that are gonna continue flop. And you block eights that are gonna continue that are gonna want to start bluffing. So I
Oh,
think this combo's bad.
you're right. Or I think you're right, Louis. So you gotta pay 5 to win 20 back.
So it's 5.6 plus
25% then.
5.6.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're right.
Plus the pot 9.3. So it's
We got to do a lot of calling. But I think this particular hand with the eight and the club is bad. I think you're not folding any kings though. Like I think this probably mixes. This was probably indifferent, but you're probably calling all your kings.
Well, so like the challenge also is like trying to construct the range, alright? So it's a paired board, ace 6. Um, can we assume that the vast majority, we'll say, we'll give him like a couple combos, but the vast majority of his 6x at this stack depth are probably check raising, right? Like, I think we could probably agree with that.
At least some. Yeah, at least half the time we'll say, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that's generous. Ace X, okay, so like the aces that he doesn't raise pre-flop, he has some, but half should be raising pre-flop. He's got a fiery 23 over there, so he's probably finding a reasonable amount of raises pre. Um,
So let me interrupt you. When
yeah.
we think about our calling range, though, how many aces do we have in range that check back turn, which is going to drive up our call with kings more, I think.
Well, that's true too, Ken. Like, the majority of our ace X besides like the weakest ones are going to be double barreling here, I think. Um. Yeah, this is kind of like, This is kind of a tricky one. Like, you can't really bluff raise this river because you're never getting a naked ace to fold. I don't think.
And it could
Just,
just
but
have a six as well.
Yeah, nothing worse is gonna call you either. So you either just call or fold, right? Like,
hmm. Yeah, like this is honestly, this is kind of a tough spot, Louis.
It
I
is,
think we're only folding like king five would might want to fold some, if not all the time. King eight, or I think are the like two worst kings.
Yeah, this is a spot I just get frustrated with and click the fold button in game.
yeah, because I have the club and the eight. I thought in my head, I had a really bad one to do it with.
Yeah,
Oh,
so like, I don't know how relevant the eight is. Because like combos like 7-8 are gonna be check raising. They should be check raising 8-9, stuff like that,
Yeah,
right?
yep, good amount.
So, but the king of clubs is kind of eh.
and then the river, he goes like, so that's the big blind strategy on the river. So you should be blocking small a lot, but he has a big size as well.
Well, he went five, so he used like a mergey. He used five, which is not that often, but
Well, you would just give him the larger size because it's gonna be more relevant.
yeah. So then we have to call just a little bit less. It's not gonna be a huge difference.
And like all your kings are completely indifferent.
Yeah, but like king five's really bad, right? We knew that. Well, I thought so. And then king eight's not great, but yeah, they are indifferent.
Hmm.
We got a lot more aces than I thought though, which is like my mistake.
So yeah,
Also, we kind of just skip to the river. Like I would kind of like try just to kind of like
you think I should not spiral my king eight?
well, not necessarily, but like just kind of walk through the thought process. So like we made some assumptions on the flop. Okay, so assumption one, they don't have a lot of 6x. Two, they should be check raising some of their 7-8, some 8-9s and stuff like that. So like assumption one is like he's got full houses, a6. He's got some king six, but for the most part, like sixes should be raising.
Yeah, so you have
Um,
basically a better king or an ace.
Okay, and like, let's see 7-8. Okay, so what's a hand like 7-8 doing here? What's a hand like? Right, so it's like those are folder raise kind of combos. You see that kind of propagate through 8-9 as well.
The pair board button versus big blind, you mostly defend by raising, so that's.
Right. So, another interesting tidbit here is you're kind of blocking his worst defenses, which are king highs. So like having a king here actually isn't that great with regards to like his continuing range. Cuz when he continues, what's he continuing with at this point? It's basically an ace or this guy's out of line with some other stuff. Like we can, I would probably just throw out some of the queen highs personally. But if you were super generous, you could say, okay, maybe the guy's got queen 10 or queen jack once in a blue moon.
So if we
So
have queen eight here, we are that's a good point. So we're gonna probably bluff catch a lot. Well, no, because then yeah. So do we bluff catch more if this was a queen river and we had queen eight?
you know,
The queen's happier to bluff catch than
I
king.
think it's exactly the same.
yeah, I think the queen and the king are gonna be kind of similar. I mean, cuz you're just kind of having a king in your hand. You have a card that's kind of blocking the hands that you want him to continue with. I guess it would be more impactful if like it was a jack. Like if you had jack, whatever you have, Louis, you have jack. What was your other card? Jack 8? If you had
Yeah,
something like that, I think, you might be able to have like some more maneuverability on the river here sometime, but
If the river was a jack, right?
yeah, it's kinda what I'm
yeah,
getting at.
but Mister, my little big blind here probably doesn't raise enough, right?
I would probably, I mean, that's fair to assume, right? Like,
Yeah,
but he might have some oddball combos in here, but like, if you look at the general framework here, um, he doesn't have a lot of 6x. He's gonna have an ace or a king here, so us having a king's not great. So now we can kinda go to the turn and look at like what the decisions are. So I mean, big blind's gonna check facing aggression, so we can go to the button. And the combos that are checking here. Or wait, this is your range, right? So like at correctly, correctly, you kind of shut down with your king. Makes a lot of sense. You have basically one of the best unpaired combos at this point.
Fuck that up.
Um. A lot of the ace X, like you do have some, oh, so we were talking about like the combos that you check on the turn of ace X. You do have some checks and it's from the worst ones, kind of how we assumed, right?
Yeah.
So like, we can go to the river now.
But I don't have any six anymore as well.
Well, yeah, that's true. Like you need to be double barreling your 6x. But you know, that's fine to be honest, cuz you're not really representing a ton of 6x.
So when I check back the turn, I get rid of all my best aces, all of the six. What do I have left? Just bluffs?
You're catching with your ace X and you've got king. So you've got like full frequency king X and like worse ace X is
Yeah.
truthfully what you're showing up with here. And then like, okay, the once in a blue moon, 7x that you just happen to hit on the turn.
So that's him on the river after I check back.
Right, so,
Uh,
yeah, you know, and this, honestly, this makes a lot of sense, like. You see, like, he's doing big betting with the ace combos
Hang
that
on,
are,
I don't think that makes any sense at all in the meta of the game today. Who's gonna bet one big blind on this river?
I wasn't even really talking about one big blind, more so, the ace X, I was just kind of walking through the range architecture. So I was saying like the wheels, so like the ace X wheels, you see big betting here because he's blocking combos of ace X that you have, one, because you only have ace five and worse, two, they're chops essentially with all the other ones.
Can I
So
see how much equity our calling hands have? I just wanted to see if I'm thinking about that right in my head too. So like when we have to call, when they bet and we have to call, what's like our lowest equity hands that are looking to call?
So you mean on the river?
Yeah,
So looking at the river solution now. So this is it.
so like how much equity do these hands have that are mixing? They're probably right at the bottom, right? 25, what do we say, 25%? They're even a
I,
little better than that.
they're in the low thirties. That's why they're mixing. We might, did we screw the math up with the 25% thing?
Nope.
Don't
Cause
know.
no, I don't think we did. Okay, so yeah, that's why I guess it's just, they're just mixing. Like you see full frequency calling with 32. And then like 31 and change is starting to mix.
Like, we were offered 32% pot odds and
But I
they,
don't, do you have to count your call when you're bluff catching? I don't think that matters, does it? So what was it? Not, what's the pot?
The pot is 15, it looks like.
9.3, right? And he bets, what do you bet? 5.5?
eight, 7?
Well, that's here, but he bet less than that. He
In
merged,
game.
he bet.
He bet 5 in game, 5, 6.
It was five,
So
6 into 20 point.
9.3 plus
I did it already.
5 points. Yeah, but what are the odds if we only have to call this? So was it 14.9? 7.
So here 27% pot odds with these sizings.
Yeah,
So
you
Maybe that
know,
doesn't work in mathematically. I wonder how this works.
I think at the end of the day, like a good rule of thumb is like, when you're playing defense and you're facing aggression and you see ranges that are mixing, like responses in theory that are mixing, it's usually safe to assume that like,
Yeah,
I agree 100%. I'm just trying to think
yeah,
of the GTO theoretical baseline, how to think about it in my head, and then I can make adjustments however I want in game, right? Like,
yeah, sure,
I just want to nail this shit down better.
so
yeah.
even though like I thought it was an easy spot to bluff, I thought my opponent was never gonna be this aggressive.
Well, I mean, this aggressive, you're probably right. Like, there's jamming here and, you know,
But
So
most of that is one big blind.
So if I thought my opponent would be this disrespectful, I would flick in the chips every time with a king here. But
Hmm,
he was just like a normal guy with no mark. You know?
He's got a ton of one big blind bluffs, so like you can usually
well,
bluff catch those, right?
so my first sign of caution here is the guy has got a Russian flag and a Brazilian avatar, okay? You know the guy's up to shenanigans.
Well. He's just trying to steal the run good.
So what ended up happening here? You folded, I'm guessing, and he just,
That's a good fold.
I
yeah.
folded.
I like this fold personally. I just,
I wanted to call so much. It's like, yeah, it was like,
it's pain. It's pain. He's just
oh,
gonna show you ace five here realistically a lot.
yeah, that's what I thought. So. After playing this hand and looking at it this morning, I thought, hey. How about? We
You
play,
wanna do some river spots. I like this. I
well,
like the,
I'm gonna leave it here cuz people might ask again and again and again, so we see.
oh, that's smart. Okay.
And Target
Check,
goes
check.
like in our example, and then the river is gonna bet big.
You're only giving him a big size. You can't like just let him bet small or big.
In the next portion, we're gonna face it. That's,
Just gonna put us in the box on our first run through, huh?
yes.
Right
And
into the
Alright,
fire.
here we go. So what do you guys wanna do here?
Fold. I want to fold.
Four liner.
I'm gonna do a lot of folding.
Think it's alright to fold second pair here?
I'm folding. I
Uh,
don't care.
Oh my goodness.
you're gonna need a fold, man. There's a four liner out
So
there.
wait, LP, you're gonna call this, but in game you folded the other one that was a much drier board.
It feels so close here. We have second pair. Do you think you can fold every second pair? No. You wanna fold the ones with like bad blockers. What's a bad blocker here? Six is probably pretty damn clean here whatsoever.
Yeah, well, six is definitely good. This is such an underbluff spot in practice IMO. Yeah, Max, I definitely agree. It's gonna be pretty
Yeah.
underbluffed,
So
especially when you go in lower and lower stakes.
exactly. So in my mind, if it mixes like here, it's probably very good fold. Very good to fold. But if the machine says you absolutely need to call, I mean. Whatever, right? Well, yeah, I see. It felt like a tough spot. And then the machine is like, look at this.
It's close, especially when you're staring at the Brazilian flag and or Russian flag, whatever. Like they're capable. A lot of them are capable.
Wait, don't just click
Um,
that fold button. Is
Hang
this
on,
a good?
hang on. I just wanna address what Ken said, okay? A flag or an image is not a note.
I know.
Many people here make mistake of taking the flag or the nationality for a note. A note is when this guy called too much, this guy folds too much, this guy is too aggressive.
You're right. When you're right, you're
Yeah.
right.
That's where you build a strategy on. You don't build a strategy against a flag. I hear a lot of people here talking about that, and I think that's pretty bad.
Bravo, bravo.
I'm just talking.
I was talking with George the other day, no, with Roger, and Roger exactly told me this guy is from Brazil, blah, 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 blah. That doesn't mean you know he calls too much. That doesn't mean you know he's too aggressive. He's just from a country.
Oh, I agree 100%. I was just saying that because just for the sake of saying something. I use my HUD stats to play people. I don't care where the hell they're from.
Let's try to get rid of that. Uh, now we were saying, why do you not wanna fold here? Yeah,
You have the bottom of your range. A five could be pretty good for your bet small check range and, you're unblocking a lot of the bluffs. So he's gonna have spades and hearts here at some frequency. Yeah, I mean, you could maybe raise it to, it's kind of a big bet is the only problem. Like, it's really hard to kind of bluff a size like that.
value betting a king or a jack in your face, you wanna put him to the test for 20?
Well, okay, so like he didn't check raise you, you bet small flop. So he's kind of crippled on kings a little bit. He's gonna have some. then the Jack X, is Jack X taking the sizing on the river? Like, this is kind of an interesting
Oh.
node where it's like the nuts or nothing. He's saying he's got a 5 or nothing.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
Hey, can I know I've been here a long, long time, but I do have a question about this. I mean, this bet sizing, I think is really, he's very polarized, right? So, I mean,
Yeah.
if you raise, he's gonna fold the bottom, the bluff side, and he's gonna call the top end. So
Everything.
what does the raise do almost generically? I mean, I realize there might be sometimes, but what, I mean, this is a very polarized bet, isn't it? 7 and 8.
Yeah, and these combos are like he's gonna be wanting to bluff 9 high and 7 high too. So like this, I think this is just the easy fold.
Yeah, I agree. Do we have any raises though? Bluff raises, yeah.
You don't have to have bluffs all the time, so
No, but
like
let's
it
see.
might just be value.
No, I love that question because that's kind of what I was saying.
6, a 7, a 7,
Just a bunch of like,
7, man. Ace queen and 7.
well, so like 9-7's too much, but a 7, like having a 7 is kind of in the neighborhood, right?
Yeah, you guessed it, a 7.
So like, what about,
That's 6
suit,
there. No.
what about suit wise? So like that A7, does it prefer? Okay, diamonds is the other thing, so unblocking the flushes and like having a 7 that kind of interacts with the 5 and the 6 a little bit, I guess. Unblocks the bluffs.
Yeah. Okay, where did I go
Savage.
here? No, not this one. Not this one. Yeah, there it is. Playing ball? What was that?
Oh, I have no idea. What me?
So went bet small check. And now he's doing this, like, you know, like I don't feel like I have to call third pair, honestly.
Well, the flush comes in, not great.
Yeah, if you had the offsuit with the king of spade, you call.
That's a good question. I feel like that's closer than this. But, I
We,
mean, straights come in also, like 7-8 got there, spades got there.
so probably we might need to dig in every ace and maybe in every queen, probably don't need any nines, right?
So here's an issue. Let's think about that. Let's talk about this for a second. Are we c betting range on this flop?
Yes,
So, and then we check turn. So we are getting to the river with our entire 50% range or whatever.
yeah,
So we're still folding, but like how much I gotta see how much we're calling here. Like I imagine if our range is so wide and we have to defend, how much do we have to defend here of it? To not get run over?
um. He were offered 32% pot odds.
So is it 76%? We got a 75% or so we're supposed to have to call? Like that's impossible to defend when we have our entire range.
Yeah, we need to defend like 65, 70%, I think. He bets like half pot, right?
What's the river look like? What's our calling range? How much are we folding?
Are you calling or folding here?
I'm folding. I mean, I'm just curious about.
See, makes sense.
Yeah, we gotta have to defend some. I'm just curious how, like, this is what I'm just trying to think of it theoretically more on river spots, because they're like the biggest spots, right? So we're folding 52%.
Yeah.
We got raises. It's pretty savage. And what's the math say? We need to. So I guess the math goes out the window when you get to the river with your entire range, huh?
Yeah, because, see here, it doesn't add up. We got 32% pot odds.
So MDF is 68%, right?
Well, it should be like when they bet half pot on the river, you're supposed to call like 65 or 70%.
Yeah, 2/3,
Never
right?
exactly, but it's in that ballpark, I think.
So I can't remember if you prefer to not talk about the adjustments that you'd make against non-GTO, but I mean, when a meaningful amount of these mixes go to the fold. when you go,
You
Yeah.
always fold, always.
Yeah, yeah,
If it makes this guy as good as you think he can be, you know, he probably doesn't find every little glimpse of the strategy, you know? Maybe it's crazy, okay? And then you think he's really good and crazy. Even a good crazy player is not betting that much. Yeah, he might be betting a lot here, but everything here, it's tough to find.
yeah. A good general rule of thumb, Josh, is, if it's mixing in theory and you're playing defense is kind of how I think about it, facing aggression, just fold. And if it's mixing and you're playing offense, you can probably lean towards the aggressive option.
yeah, I love that summary. That's great. Thanks, Taylor.
Great. Ooh, man, what a mess of a board.
Ah. Oh. Okay, we
He
just,
didn't check raise flop. He didn't lead turn. I mean, I can't help myself. I gotta call, like, whatever.
call for the check.
Figure I'm gonna lose a lot, but I can't fold this. It's too nitty.
I'm not a fan of calling for chops, but
Oh, it's a straight on the board. Jesus.
yeah, that's what I was saying, Ken.
Get me out. Get me out. Get me out.
You wanna fold?
Yeah, I'm folding.
Probably.
Honestly, man, I kinda wanna fold, but like second to fold, I would.
Do you call
Raise-
the queen of spade?
Nah, I'm just done.
Honestly, I might raise with the queen of spades.
Oh, yeah.
So queen of spades, you're still beating his bluffs, right? What value, do you think
What do
they're
you
ever
wanna
folding a
bluff raise
straight?
with? Like 9x?
You have a relevant flush blocker then, and flushes beat straights, so you can probably make him fold.
Okay, so first this one, colorful,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna fold here, man. Like, to be honest, I'm just folding.
mixing. So,
Now, like, look at some hands with like some relevant spades.
do you bluff,
Queen,
do you bluff a 9 here?
ooh, that's a good question, Louis. I would not be surprised. I think, like, if you have 9-9 with the 9 of spades here,
Just like 9-10, just because you block 8-9?
yeah, I know, I think that's pretty relevant, actually. Although I think like, you're just gonna get shown an 8 a lot. Yeah, like, so 8-9 is a straight. So look at 9-10 raising,
Woo! No, just
9-10
sorry,
raising.
sorry.
Yeah, well, yeah, hearts is a nothing burger.
Yeah,
And then like, so if you look at queens, you see a little bit of raising there. It's not really, actually. It's kind of whatever. Why don't you have the queen of spades available here? Cuz you would have double barreled, I
Yeah.
guess.
It's just gonna win it. It's ahead of his bluffs. You're beating all his bluffs and you're losing all his value. So you don't either call or fold, right? Queens. But it's raising a lot of other blocker type stuff for sure.
Hmm.
But can't beat anything.
Well, okay, so I didn't think about that when we were initially looking at it, but you just don't have a lot of spades here. Because you should be double barreling like a lot of your naked spades.
yeah.
So like, the bluffs are centralized around the 9x, like you're kinda talking about, Louis. So like, yeah, bluff your nines.
Yeah, I didn't find them here, but here, because you block 8-9. Easy. And then, oh, are we blocking? Well, offsuit spades, like, king of spade? Can be raising, look at this.
Yeah, okay, so you do have some of that stuff.
Yes.
An ace can be raising, just for the,
Hmm.
okay? We can bluff. With a 9 or a high spade, but not.
Look at that joker getting queens to fold.
Bluffed with a 9.
The machine is like, yeah, okay, there you go. Oh, it feels like an easy call. How did we check this turn?
Yeah, it feels kind of like an odd check, right?
How
There's
often?
completed equity on the flop.
Just
Fifty,
low
Half the
for-
time.
You're not checking this kind of a combo on the turn to ever fold to a river bet, so like. You just, I don't think you raise. I don't think it's strong enough to raise, cuz you're not beating anything that he's continuing with at that point, right?
Okay,
Yeah, well, it does. Okay, so look, all in. It does raise some.
Yeah.
Oops, yeah.
Another punt.
So, I mean, what does he respond with, to a raise with that king, queen?
I mean, it was two pair. I think it's just,
Or was it two pair? I'm sorry.
yeah,
I
it's
just thought
just
it was a better kicker.
yeah.
that's,
There's
even
no-
if you raise, even if you find like a miracle raise there on the river, like,
No one's folding to you.
He's got two
I think
pairs.
you're probably getting snapped off.
Yeah, I
got
don't
two-
think you raise here. That's why, I mean, the mix here is, again, I think you just call it.
His value is two pairs, straights and sets, so like that's his value range. And then he's just. gonna
Alright,
fold off.
I'm feeling it, boys. I'm feeling it. Like
The
this
eight of
hand,
spade,
this hand kinda screams like, maybe a bluff
you wanna bluff
sometimes.
the eight of spade?
Well, okay, so like it's double paired and we have ace high, so maybe it just calls, to be honest.
Yeah, it seems like a call more than anything else, right?
Yeah,
Oh, it's eight of spade,
right. And there you go.
okay.
It's just, it's a double paired board. Ace high is usually gonna be just good to call. Feels like a pretty solid bluff catcher.
I agree. I agree. Why do you check the turn though? Do you not, how often do you barrel the turn?
I play check here. I play
You
check
do.
here some.
Gotta
Yeah.
have some checks to protect your checking range, I guess, right? Like you can't just
Yeah.
bet everything that's,
Sure.
I like playing check here, actually.
your better jacks are probably betting
10,
more.
9.
So what about the jack nine offsuit makes this, I mean, we've been looking at a lot of second pairs, right? So
Yeah.
what about this kicker that attracts you or something else in the hand that attracts you?
When the king pairs, it's less likely he has a king. That's number one. Number two, when the king pairs, you're like, you don't have enough kings, so you're gonna have to dig a little further in your second pair to defend.
Okay, so following that logic right there, Louis. When you find a double barrel here, I'm assuming that you're probably gonna be polarizing a little bit, right? Typically?
Yeah.
Like, you're not going small a ton with this type of holding. So
Well,
when you polarize, like what are we trying to get called by here? What are we trying to get calls from here? Like, I mean, diamonds is gonna be an obvious answer if he
diamonds,
has.
open enders.
Yeah, so queen ten. He will have sometimes, although he didn't check raise, but at this stack depth, you're not necessarily check raising all your queen tens.
Queen ten,
Oh,
uh, you know,
So Louis, can we look at what jack nine does on that turn?
I would think you would just maybe want a little bit better kicker personally.
what kind of jack do we bet on the turn?
Like jack queen feels like a slam dunk one.
No jack, how about that?
Actually, having a queen's not great, so.
Having a jack is like,
Right, so it's just shutting down for the most part. See, I wasn't like too excited about betting a jack on the turn here.
maybe I'm a slightly too greedy because when the king pairs, in my mind, the jack becomes money. Well,
Because
whereas,
you have just too much showdown value on the jack. I mean, aren't there better bluffing hand, other better hands to bet?
like, when the king pairs, what do you have that is better?
Uh, any complete miss with diamonds? Like, I'm just looking at the
Diamonds,
answer.
I agree with you. Diamonds is a great barrel.
Yeah, I think I would probably be barreling from the other end. I think is what Josh is kind of talking about. So like, when you pick up diamonds on the turn, probably a good barrel. Queen ten makes a really good double barrel. Stuff like gut shots make a good double barrel. Like, I would rather be pressuring Jack X as opposed to,
Folding.
pressuring, yeah, well, or pressuring draws with Jack X, I guess.
Alright,
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I like it though. Oh, man, I think you just call this. He could definitely have an ace here, but
You can have a queen. We check turn.
There's
does
no
he go
way
for this?
queen like that with an ace
It's-
out there.
Yeah, he's so polarized is my concern.
This is value or bluff.
When we're capped, that's not super, like, that's a big bet, but I don't know how polarizing it is if we cap ourselves. It feels like just a big value bet. I think they got queens when they can't do this with a queen.
I would think they would use a smaller sizing with a queen.
Yeah, one big blind with a queen.
Well, we'll see. Oh my god.
Yeah, king
So
eight, kings are not great here.
There's
I
no
guess the
queen.
question I have is like, what bluffs get developed here that he has?
He's probably betting every king he has. to try-
Well, he's gonna have hands also that kind of interact with the wheel. So like, I wouldn't be surprised, I
Okay.
wouldn't be shocked to see like 5-4, 5-3 turn into bluffs. 7-8 probably could be turned into a bluff here that can, like your thin continues, hearts probably. Whatever your thin continues are on the flop that don't really, improve. So like just random low cards would be good bluffs here.
Yeah, he's not gonna have any queens, that's for sure, if we're folding this.
And when the ace hits the turn and we play check, like we play bet small, check, we really shouldn't have a lot of ace X here. Um. So, he's gonna be throwing some just random low card stuff at us, I think.
We see the river.
It's 5 pesos, yeah. This is the river.
5 pesos, so like eight, alright, so 8-9, that's a pair of nines. Oh wait, this is facing the bet. This is
Yeah,
facing the bet.
what's he betting? I can't, we're just folding like.
So you see like 8-7 makes a good bluff here on the river, 7-6 makes a good bluff here on the river. 4-3 is a straight,
I'm
6-4.
surprised he doesn't bet more kings.
There's just one big blind. He is using one big blind for the queens.
Mm-hmm,
gotta
6-3
learn
makes,
that.
Back to the comment about ace, you don't see a lot of ace X in this. And I mean, aren't you c betting small your ace X hands a lot on a 9-5-2 rainbow board? On the flop?
yeah, no, you should be c betting on the flop a lot of your ace X. Alright, so
And
like,
I would check back after the call, wouldn't I? Oh, no, I got the ace.
Yeah, but
Oh,
it's a 9-eye board, so we're very polar, and on a polar board here, we're taking like the smaller route, so.
yeah.
Come on.
and he had the 3-6, which is a good bluff. Oh, boy, how good is the 5 here? I don't think the 5's good. I think the 5
The
is.
5 is great here.
Is it great? Is it great? Let's think. Okay, so he doesn't have many 5x continuing on the
Hang on,
flop.
hang on. What's a bad one? A king or a jack, right? Or an ace? So that's a bad one.
Maybe a 9 would be bad.
And
Um,
probably you as well. So we have the 4 bad ones, so everything else is good. Is that right?
I think you're thinking in the right terms. Like whatever is like the loose completing, like the loose drawy type stuff on the flop. So like your 9, your jack,
But the
probably a
real
king.
question here, okay, so we know our 8 is clean, but do we need to call 8x here?
So he's not doing this with a 10.
No,
He's rarely doing this with a queen at this point because he should be check raising the flop with queens, I would think.
um,
Like the ones that he's gonna be taking this line with, that's queen X, like he'll have queen 4 here sometimes, queen 6 here sometimes. But like, is he doing this with queen 6? Or I'm sorry, is he doing this with queen 5?
I think better queens.
Yeah, me too.
So we're, with the 5, we're blocking the small bets. It's more
Mm-hmm.
likely he has like a queen jack here.
Yeah, so. I don't know. I'd be very tempted to bluff catch this. I'm just not buying
Well, we
the
know
cool.
that 8x is clean because of our 5, but do we need to call 8x? That's the question. Do you call
Yeah.
any attacks? Because if you call any attacks, this is the one to pick.
I think we probably do bluff catch with some eights,
I don't think so. I think we fold.
maybe.
That makes it.
Yeah. L- Just run through all the eight X's. I think you're right in saying that's probably one of the more attractive combos.
We need to call with eight X. And did we figure out the right ones? King is bad, jack is bad, nine is bad. We had it. But
Jack is really bad.
Yeah,
Jack is like dumpster tier
Yeah.
card.
and ace, not so much. So see, I think I said the ace, not so much.
Yeah. So as far as like single pairs go, single pairs, I would say ace eight, eight, five, and then like king eight
Okay,
would
so
be
we
like,
call some eight X here. Okay.
Can I make a suggestion?
yeah. what's
Can
up?
we make the flops so they're like disconnected or whatever, like flops that we are gonna be using more of our range, a small C bet with more of our range. Like try to get rid of the flops that's gonna have a decent amount of C bets.
I
or
call
large
dry
C- or small.
board. Feel like if you bet jack nine, you're quite a tough spot.
We're
I have
good.
no idea how you would program that in GTO Wizard.
It's got an input thing, I think, where you can just, it's got like bucketed flop textures.
Well, like low connected flop, like 6-5,
Oh,
like
yeah,
six
yeah,
high
okay.
five, hot, like 6 high flops are gonna have a lot of big bets, like 6 high connected, right? Are gonna have.
It still uses the small bet.
Yeah, but it's so infrequent. That's not like, we're gonna probably be overdoing it with our
Not
big
that
bets.
infrequent, not that infrequent, yeah. I've looked at the reports before doing this. It's the highest size it uses. On aggregated report. So we call, man, slam jam.
He's
Nice.
got it. He's got it this time though.
Oh yeah, he does. The river.
You know, okay, I call, whatever. Like, this guy's gonna show you, an eight. And if he's actually finding this with a six, kudos to him.
You call his jack of spade.
Uh, Good question. He's probably less likely to be bluffing the front door, so probably. I'm not sure. It's a good question.
So, I mean, I'm more afraid of a 2 than an 8 here, right? Because he might check raise the 8. The trips.
Well, it's fair. That's fair.
So, I mean, I think that this is I like this idea of looking people up with the ace on these double paired runouts.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially on an eight, eight deuce deuce.
Yeah, what is he thinking?
But I mean, he's got such an incentive. Well, he's got trips, so maybe not.
No, he doesn't. No, he's got an airball.
He's trying to
No,
get.
no, no. What I'm saying is, I'm trying to think like, is he going to check raise the trips, or is he going to let you keep going?
He should, okay, like, I mean, they're not always gonna find every combo, but the majority of eight X should be raising on this flop.
So
And
this
you
is his
kinda,
river strategy after it goes check, check. So he's doing that basically like, he's trying to, he's picking jack eye to get queen eye to fold or king eye to fold. That's all he's really trying to do. Pick his lowest combos to get slightly better ones than his to fold. That's all. He's looking for king eye folds, queen eye folds. And that's a good way to put it. If you're on his seat here, you're just trying to get an ace high to fold, and if he has better, well, no, not an ace high, a king eye or a queen eye.
But that's a really good bluffing combo, right? 10-8.
anything that's gonna interact well with whatever the trip card is, the best trip card, so like, he's gonna have eight, nine, right? He's gonna have 10, 8.
Yeah.
So like, if you have a combo like 10, 9. It's just naturally interacting with some of his value, so it makes a good bluff. In addition to everything Louis was saying, that it gets, when you bluff tens, you get jacks, queens, kings to fold, so,
Yep.
you know. It's pretty attractive for those reasons.
Yeah.
This is, I, this is, I fold. I don't know.
This is the spot we looked at this morning. It's very similar to the first hand. We reverted the second pair. We blocked the flush. We don't have a great kicker. Although here it might be not too bad. Think it's gonna mix here. We're gonna have to call this one.
Yeah, maybe I'm folding.
The four liner though.
That's
Ah,
what I was thinking. Like he can easily have a jack here randomly.
Oh, it's a total mix, yeah.
Same
Yeah.
spot, my hands are burning. I deeply wanna call, but this is just too much for me. Do you call a king nine when you don't have spades?
Maybe I'm a little more likely, maybe. I still hate it. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
more likely completely unblocking.
Yeah.
So like clubs is the nuts here, but eh, you know,
Oops, where's it? Where's it?
Alright.
Alright, oh, for me, this is easy. It's the code of seven, right? The seven pair, you bet seven big blinds. Got a call. Right,
I mean, that's a situation where you just beat enough of his light value bets, although such a big sizing. I mean, if it would be a snap if it's a smaller sizing. I mean, at 7 and 8, it's still tricky, but not that tricky, I guess.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And nine. So I think we need to call here, but. Queen seems to be bad here. I don't think
Why
you,
don't you like the queen? I mean, why?
because he could have, it blocks king, queen. It blocks like, the kind of hands that miss. The same goes for a ten, you know?
So I kind of look at this like this is a really good bluffing spot for him because our
Yeah,
check back, well, I guess the jack, maybe we check back a 9.
yeah.
Okay, I withdraw my comment.
No, it's a very interesting spot. So how do we go about this one? Very rainbow, the nine pairing makes it less likely he has a nine. We gotta call every jack. And then we're gonna call some eight X, yeah? And then what's a good eight X? I think this one is a bad one. And if we had like 8-5, 8-6, that would be a great one. Let's see. Fold? No, it's calling this one. It's good enough. Then in terms of bad blockers or good blockers. Range, and then we had a hand like queen eight.
Looks like the 8s are calling everything.
Yeah. Okay, so that's interesting, cuz I thought, you know, having a queen would be bad because like the nuts is queen ten, right? on this flop and turn, queen ten. So when you have when you block the nuts, it's like, not very good, right?
Well,
So,
but isn't the nuts 9-8?
no, right now, no, you're right on the river, but on the turn, out of the hands that, because for me, when he bets the river, all gonna be hands that wanted action on the turn. Okay? The polarized bet on the river, it's like frustration. We didn't play for a big pot and I had a big hand. So now I'm trying to steal, so it's a little bit like that, right? And it's also like an easy spot to naturally bluff for people. Because when you go check on the turn, it's easy for them to figure out you don't have much and you're kind of capped. And then many texture as well are gonna like here, the nine pairing. It's often when a card pairs that he does that, right? And then, so it's like,
So Louis, I guess one of the questions I have is in view of the fact that there's a full house possible, does the straight always bet this big?
I think so.
I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. It's using all the colors, but, it's betting, yeah. Pretty big most of the time. Okay. I don't think this is a very good call. Think we might wanna call with some 7x before we call with any six. Look at this. So we don't want to call with every 5x. So here, bad blocker is like a 10 and 9 or a 5 and 8. Then 7 5s, that's two pair, 6 5, that's. Okay. A 10 here seems to be an easy call. What do you guys think? I would call her. Oh, it's mixing. Ay.
I mean, there's that one-liner thing again, right?
Yeah,
So you're blocking the jack with your 10,
yeah.
I guess.
I don't think we need
I
to.
don't like, I think it's a fold. So this one's different than ones we've seen before. I mean, because it starts with a monotone board.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I mean, I guess he's going to bet the river a lot with the ace of spades or any other high spade, right? King spades. This is he bet this for, oh, he had two pair, yeah, for
I
value.
don't think he's betting this river with a single high spade.
Oh, because the river's an ace. Yeah, okay.
It could be, but I don't think it's happening. Like here, is he
No,
bluffing?
I don't, I didn't process the ace on the river. I was just looking at the,
Like he's not bluffing with the king of spade here, which is the. Yeah, okay. But I see what you're thinking, and if it was like a flush draw board where the flush card comes on the turn or river, then a high spade could be a good card to have.
Yeah.
But on monotone, it's a bit different. King eight, ay, 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 ay. I would have bluffed the river, but we couldn't.
I think there's just, I mean, he does have a lot of aces in his range, and the queen, he would bet the queen into your check. So I don't know. I just don't think this is a good calling hand.
I agree. Never call it.
I agree.
Oh, you got us.
So let me just talk this through just for fun. So, I mean, the one thing I noticed is he would, a king X, a king of diamonds X would be a great bluffing card for him. And we block that, so it reduces his bluffs. Um, and so, and we obviously don't have any pair, so we don't beat any of his lower value. I mean, I think because of the king of diamonds, I'm leaning towards a fold here.
I think it's always a fold. But I also think maybe we could raise sometimes.
Yeah, I kind of go back to this is a polarized bet, and raises are just going to dump the bluff part.
Yeah, well, it's never raising, so. But it's calling sometimes. Dirty call.
Can I ask a GTO question? When you're drilling this, do you ever? I'm trying to decide what a good GTO score is on some of these. Like when I'm drilling this, I always wonder when I should feel good about my results.
You should not worry about results at all. You should worry and focus on patterns, that's all.
Okay.
Try to find the mistakes and try to recognize them, and if you're wrong, it's not a big deal at all. You should
That's
really
good.
focus on taking every session, you take one or two small notes that are the main takeouts. And you save that somewhere, that's what you should be focusing on. One or two general guideline notes for the spot you're trying to do.
Lou, you mind if I chime in for a second?
I don't know, man, you're welcome. Everyone is welcome here.
I'm part of a study group where everybody was posting their scores. Some guys are real good. They're in the mid to high 80s a lot. So what I was doing was, and if I'm doing a bunch of hands, doing the 4 table drill, and I was in like the the 70s and stuff, but I found it more important to do like one hand at a time. And then because there's so many bet sizes, like I would be like, all right, it's like it's going to be the 60, it's going to be the 55% one or the 83% one. And if I'm in the right ballpark, like I can consider that for like learning purposes. I'm in the right area. It might be like, oh, 100% one thing. So my score is really low. But I think if you're like getting it in the right ballpark and you understand the spot, like that's more important than the actual score because there's just so many bet sizes that they use.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Like the small size, the two small size, they can be put together. The two kind of larger size can kind of be put together as well. So if you hit one and you get the other, I think.
Right. Like if you know a spot is like a block, like if you're at a position and it's a 10% block bet on the river, but for some reason the solver likes,
25 this time.
yeah, maybe it likes the 33. Like I feel like you have the right idea. You're supposed to be betting small there, so the score really doesn't matter as long as you understand the concept.
Yeah, I hard agree with that actually. Like the score is kind of like a fun interactive. I think they're just trying to like gamify the learning. I
Yeah.
think there's way more value in working through a hand and being able to construct the ranges appropriately street to street when you look back on the hand and like be in the ballpark with that stuff. Cause that kind of like the general heuristics and range construction and like understanding, being able to articulate and understand like what parts of the range you're targeting with certain actions and what parts of the range they're using has way more value like in game, I think.
That's those are really helpful answers. Thank you. I will say I don't try to multi-table GTO wizard when I'm studying. I just focus on one thing at a time. And frankly, as you
Hmm.
some of you know, I skew towards just live play, so
Sure.
I'm going slower. And frankly, every time I try to speed up, I just don't have fun, and I'm not trying to, you know, make a living doing
Yeah,
this. Like I'm trying to make a profit, not a living, and so I don't care if I reduce the volume. And I'd like
Yeah,
to
no.
think better.
Yeah, sure.
for learning the one at a time is probably better. That was more of a game that we were playing.
Yeah.
Who could knock out the most hands and get the highest score. So if you're learning it, it's probably better the one at a time.
So the one thing I do is I turn on the learning mode and I have that side panel up. And I always ask myself, who's got the range advantage, who's got the nut advantage, who's got the what's it called? The realization advantage, SQR advantage, and like what's the frequencies gonna look like? Not to the penny, but to the general thought process. Are we betting a lot? Are we not betting a lot? Are we betting big a lot? And I just, to me, it's about maintaining a discipline about thinking about the whole and then bringing it into the specific. And it's a challenge for me. So that's kind of one of the things I do, but I never know what to do with this GTO score. So thanks for the thoughts.
Anytime, any question, you're more than welcome. We're gonna fold here.
Hi guys, how are you?
Pretty good. What about you?
So nice.
Now, Louis, are we gonna at some point switch to a smaller bet sizing, or are we gonna stick with the?
We can do that, but against a small bet, we're just gonna be a lot more sticky.
Yeah, I would think so.
Well, let's do it.
Well, what they put that at 33?
Well, the pattern I've seen, like this here, for example, not like it's going 55% of the time, or it's going 7, around 15 to 20% of the time. Almost all the spots I've seen were like that.
Yeah.
This one, for example, on the flop, let's see,
Yep.
on the flop. I know on the river, hang on. On the river, betting 12%, betting 7. It's more like betting 3 here, but 1 was a thing on every one of them that I've seen. There's a 3 though here. You might be right with the 3. Let's see. And what about this one here? Three might be a thing here.
Well, the reason why I said that is it just seems like at one, it seems almost trivial, right? As you had said.
Well, definitely. So the tree is a thing, I guess, so we can try it. So tree, against the tree. And the machine is like, what are you asking today?
So what's the note up to the river? On flop we bet. Big blind
Bet,
call.
bet check.
Check, check.
Okay, thanks.
And then on the river, this guy's gonna bet into us.
Yeah, I mean, so this is it. So this turned interesting, right? Because I don't know if I looked this up. I blocked. I don't think I looked this up. I think I'm folding this even though. No, I'm wrong.
Also folding here, I mean, ace deuce offsuit, but we blocked the flush, we got an ace high, it's probably good enough. Kind of a difficult spot, see the range are not very. Are we supposed to double barrel a lot here? What's going on? Kind of. Alright. So it's calling a lot of ace highs. It would prefer to have, actually, you know what? Yeah. Okay, so here I think that five is good because you block the straight. Here the jack. Having the spade is good. Having the three of spade is not good, but having a spade most of the time is good.
Can we like apply the 10% aces rule here with the V? Or not?
Not really.
I mean, so the
Not
different
really.
situation.
Here, if the solver is mixing, you should probably fold. But let's see what we've got.
Oh, ace king only because of that.
We
And
got
the
a call,
blocker. Yep.
got a call. We have a spade, we have our best ace high. We can even bluff.
So again, that's where I go back to because it's smaller, the bluffs come into play a lot more.
Yeah. Definitely.
There, I thought there was too much showdown value to bluff.
Well, the thing is, the board is like 7, 6, 5, 4, so it's almost, he almost always like, he's the big blind, so he must have like jack six, jack five, jack four. So you're almost always gonna be shown a small pair here. And that pair, it's like, never gonna call a jam.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So if, and only if, the flush complete, and you have a great blocker to the flush, like the ace, the king, the whatever. Go for it. What about this one? I don't know. Let's give it a call. Mixing, probably better off folding here. Wow.
So that's kind of weird because I wouldn't think in a real game someone would take their pair for value on that board. They would be, seems like it would be more of a check evaluate or check fold situation for the big blind. I don't know.
I
Then we go
honestly, I see all kinds of shenanigans online, so nothing surprises me.
Okay,
I'm thinking about going all in or raising. No,
Just a call here. You don't wanna have a spade in your hand to call, I think. So deuce
Yeah.
of spade, I'm calling. I'm also calling without the spade. 4-3 off, aye.
good call.
So I'm calling the aces, I'm calling the six, I'm calling the flush. I'm calling the 4. Do I need to call king 6? No heart. To this size, I think so.
yeah, we've been calling without the pair with the ace.
So that's a situation where if I were facing the bigger bet, I would probably fold that very quickly.
This one?
No, the one before that we called. The last one.
I
The
think so as
we had third pair, right?
Yeah, I think, so.
Fourth pair.
But let's see if it's right. Would
Right, and
be,
there again, I mixed to the fold.
would be mixing. You'd wanna have a heart to call?
Mhm.
Call or raise with a heart.
Raise?
I'm calling.
I'm just calling as well. Why would you wanna raise?
Yeah, and I mean, because I think I would want to
value.
raise a single spade that doesn't have any showdown value, and this one has showdown value, so I might as well just take it.
Single spades a flush.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, we all miss stuff. It's easy to do. I mean, this is whatever. Call sometimes, fold sometimes.
I think you
Yeah.
always call this one.
Absolutely.
No spade, you call spade, you probably mixing.
Well, and he's gonna check raise the pre-flop, I'm sorry, the flop with a 10. So my raise is strong here even against pairs between 5 and 10.
A little bit of a goofy raise here, I think.
I
That's
don't
the,
understand how.
that's the RNG LP. It's less EV than the call.
Still
Yeah.
going for it 60% with this combo.
Yeah, it's going for it more. I'm not sure why. If it's less, I mean, technically less EV.
I mean, I think sometimes those numbers are just math, right? It's just the computer rounding. Am I
I think
wrong
it's
about
the,
that?
I think it's the RNG. It does it, but I think the best move is still call. Most profitable move is to call, but the RNG lets you raise.
Yeah, again, I like the raise there a lot.
I think, I'm not sure, honestly.
I would fold here.
Yeah, me too. I would fold. Cool. Busted draws. Call this.
But we got like pocket nines, pocket tens, pocket jacks, pocket queens, we got kings, we got.
Kings
some
bet
eights,
the
some
top.
eight- we got eights, like I have no desire to call with ace high.
A bunch of hands that you mentioned were betting turn.
Well, they're not betting full, right? You think eights are betting turn, full frequency?
Eights, pocket eights.
Eight, yeah, ace eight,
Yeah,
queen eight,
yeah,
jack eight, nine eight. You think they're betting turn?
yeah, because you're see betting the flop small against big blind and then a scary card comes.
The king is good for us, yeah.
It's a key card for the button kind of, so your range wants to bet a lot. I don't know if this combo wants to do it, but king is great for us. So you do double barrel a lot here. And this is like the hand that probably wants to check the most on the turn.
Yeah, good ace, right?
But I thought range would bet a lot on this king turn. Cause it's easy to put pressure on whatever he has. If he has an eight with the king on the turn, if he has a four or a three, it's almost always giving up, right? When you blast the turn,
This is our betting range on it, for the button,
yeah,
all the eights. Practically.
oopsie. There it is. Check
So
the
since
big,
we lack so many eights, we're calling more ace highs, I guess.
hey, why is he checking the river? You're gonna bet three, sir. There we go. Now we call?
Looks that way.
Ooh, so spade would be bad. We gotta call the kings, we gotta call the queens. The 10 is really bad here, so I think we fold.
Why? We block queen 10 and king 10 on the bottom.
You also block jack 10, ace 10, which is a worse, a lot worse of a blocker, Maxi.
Okay.
Blocking jack 10 here is the worst. So jack and 10 are really bad. Ace is also probably very bad. And a good blocker here, probably a 5. Something in between these two cards and then, you know. He's not double barreling many fives. Whereas jack 10, when you see like. What? Yeah,
Can you do that again? So you unblock the front door. Why is the 10 bad there?
there's a king and a queen on the board, okay?
Okay,
So you see bet the flop, okay, and he calls. Okay, and then the queen comes on the turn. Okay,
got it.
the interaction, okay, that he's gonna wanna continue with. If he has jack 10, it's a great continue, right? Upper, upper and bottom on the flop, and then he picks up equity, but he breaks it on the river. And then on the river, he's stuck with jack 10, jack high. Okay, so he called the flop, picked up equity on the turn, and then on the river it breaks, and then not only did his equity break on the turn, on the river, but also you cap your range.
So you're saying that the 10 makes it a good call?
No, makes it a very bad call. Because you block the natural continues.
Okay.
So like on a king, queen type of board, if you have a jack or a 10, it's bad.
So does the existence of the bricked front door flush, I think it was spades, I'm not sure. Is this the hand? No, no. Doesn't change that calculus?
It does. It does. It adds up. So we're looking for bad factors. Okay, it's tough to grade them. But in my mind, having a card of the flush when the front door breaks is very bad. Okay,
We unblocked we didn't have it. That's
Yeah.
what I was saying.
yeah. But it's just like factors that we're just trying to compile.
Okay, so I agree with those two factors, but I think the other factor on that was the fact that we unblocked front door spades, I think they were.
Okay,
Okay, thanks.
we don't bluff. Okay, so I think this is 2-10 to call. No, it is a call. It wants to bluff. Alright, well, does anyone have questions? Alright, well, I'm gonna close the video and we're gonna continue a little bit behind closed doors. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Make sure to sign up, subscribe, join us, join the community, come share, and enjoy. Have a good one.